The autumn wind swept through the streets of Portland as Marcus Washington stood at the doorway of his son's Victorian home, his weathered hands gripping a single suitcase. At 73, he'd lived through more than most, a career as a postal worker, raising 3 children alone after his wife passed, and now, in what should have been peaceful retirement, he found himself seeking shelter. "Dad." Trevor opened the door, his face lighting up. Come in, come in. You're right on time." Marcus smiled, the wrinkles around his eyes deepening. His son had done well, a successful architect with a beautiful home in the historic district. But as Marcus crossed the threshold, he caught sight of her. Bethany stood in the hallway, arms crossed, her designer handbag still on her shoulder as if she'd just arrived home. Her expression could have frozen the sun. "Trevor," she said coolly, not acknowledging Marcus. "We need to talk. Now." Trevor's smile faltered. "Beth, can it wait? Dad just got here." "No. It cannot wait." She turned on her heel and marched toward the kitchen. Marcus set down his suitcase. "Son, if this is a bad time, it's not, Dad. It's fine. Let me just. I'll be right back." Trevor squeezed his father's shoulder and followed his wife. From where Marcus stood, their voices carried through the open plan layout. "You didn't discuss this with me," Bethany hissed. "He's my father. He has nowhere else to go. His apartment building is being demolished for that new development. That's not my problem, Trevor. We have our lives here. Our space. I work from home, remember? I can't have someone else here disrupting everything. His family, Beth. He's your family. Not mine." Marcus felt his chest tighten. He'd raised his son to be better than this, to stand up for what was right. But he also heard the exhaustion in Trevor's voice, the weight of a marriage already strained. "Just give it a chance," Trevor pleaded. "A few weeks, that's all. He's looking for a new place." Bethany's laugh was sharp. "A few weeks. Trevor, wake up. Your father is 73 years old. Do you really think he's going anywhere? This is going to be permanent, and I refuse to spend my prime years being a caretaker." Marcus had heard enough. He picked up his suitcase and walked toward the kitchen. Both Trevor and Bethany turned, startled. "I can go to a hotel," Marcus said quietly. "I don't want to cause problems." "Dad, no," Trevor started. "Yes," Bethany interrupted, her blue eyes cold. "That might be best. Just until you find something more permanent." Trevor's face reddened. "Bethany, that's enough." "Is it? Is it really? Because I'm the one who'll be here all day with him while you're at the office. I'm the one whose routine will be destroyed. I'm the one who what?" Marcus asked, his voice steady despite the hurt. "Who has to look at someone who doesn't meet your standards?" Bethany's face flushed, but she didn't back down. "This is about practical considerations, not what?" Marcus pressed. "Not about the color of my skin. Not about the fact that I'm a retired postal worker, and not one of your country club friends." "How dare you," Bethany breathed, though her eyes shifted away. "Bethany," Trevor said, his voice harder now. "Apologize to my father." "For what?" "For being honest. Trevor, you know what's at stake here. Your Uncle Robert's estate." "Don't," Trevor warned, but Bethany was past the point of caution. "He's not going to leave you anything if he finds out you're housing your father. You know how he feels. He's made it clear that family money stays with family that maintains certain standards." The room fell silent. Marcus finally understood. Trevor's Uncle Robert, his late wife's brother, a real estate mogul who'd made a fortune in exclusive developments. A man who'd never hidden his prejudices, who'd opposed Trevor's marriage to Marcus's son from the start, only softening when there were no children and when Trevor kept Marcus at a distance. "The inheritance," Marcus said softly. "That's what this is about." Trevor looked stricken. "Dad, I wouldn't what?" Bethany demanded. "Choose financial security over playing nursemaid. Trevor, your uncle is worth $30 million. $30 million. And you're his only heir, but only if we play by his rules." "Those rules are disgusting," Trevor said, but his voice lacked conviction. Bethany stepped closer to her husband. "Are they? Or are they just practical? Your father had his life. He raised you. Now it's our turn. We could travel, invest, retire early. All of that goes away if Robert finds out about this." Marcus watched his son's face, saw the war raging behind his eyes. He'd raised Trevor to be kind, generous, moral. But he'd also seen what money could do to people, how it could twist their priorities. "I'll leave," Marcus said. "I'll find a hotel tonight." "Dad, please, it's fine, son." Marcus managed a sad smile. "I understand." But he didn't, not really. As he picked up his suitcase again, as he walked toward the door, he felt something break inside him. Not anger, he'd lived too long for that. But disappointment, deep and aching. Wait, Trevor said, but he didn't move to stop his father. Bethany, however, did move. She rushed past Marcus and stood by the door, her expression shifting to something almost triumphant. I think this is for the best. Really? You'll see, Trevor. This is the right choice. Marcus paused at the threshold, looking back at his son. Your mother would have been so proud of the man you became, he said quietly. But right now, I think she'd be heartbroken. He left before Trevor could respond, stepping out into the cool autumn evening. The budget inn on the outskirts of Portland was nothing like Marcus had imagined spending his retirement, but the room was clean and the staff were kind. He paid for a week up front, counting out bills from his modest savings. That night, lying in the unfamiliar bed, he thought about calling his daughter, Denise, in Chicago. But she had her own struggles, 2 kids, a husband who'd been laid off. He wouldn't burden her. Instead, he called his old friend Raymond, another retired postal worker who'd moved to Beaverton. Marcus. How's the new place with Trevor? Marcus explained everything. Raymond was silent for a long moment. That boy needs his head examined. He's under pressure. We're all under pressure, Marcus. That's life. But you don't throw away your father for money you haven't even earned yet. Raymond sighed. Look, you can stay with me. My place is small, but I appreciate it, Ray, but no. I need to figure this out on my own. Stubborn as always. Raymond chuckled, then grew serious. But Marcus, what are you going to do about Trevor? About that wife of his? What can I do? He's a grown man. He made his choice. Did he, though? Seemed to me like she made it for him. Marcus closed his eyes. Maybe. But he didn't stop her. They talked for another hour, Raymond trying to lift his spirits with old stories from their postal roots. When Marcus finally hung up, he felt a little better, but the ache remained. 3 days passed. Marcus spent his time looking for affordable apartments, but Portland's rental market was brutal. His postal pension wasn't enough for anything decent, and his savings wouldn't last long at hotel rates. On the 4th day, his phone rang. Trevor. Dad, please, let me explain. There's nothing to explain, son. You made your choice. I didn't. Beth did. I've been trying to convince her, but she's impossible when she sets her mind to something. Then you have a marriage problem, not a father problem. Trevor was quiet. Uncle Robert called yesterday. He's planning to visit next month. Beth told him we've been doing great, keeping up the right image, the right associations. The right associations, Marcus repeated bitterly. Meaning people who look like Bethany. Dad, that's not fair, isn't it? Trevor, your mother and I raised you to see beyond that kind of ignorance. We raised you to stand up for what's right, even when it's hard. I know. But Beth's right about one thing. Uncle Robert's money would change our lives. We could help people, donate to causes. You could help your own father first, Marcus said quietly. But I guess that's not as appealing as theoretical charity. That's not what I meant. Marcus rubbed his temples. Son, I love you. But I can't do this right now. I need to go. He hung up before Trevor could respond. The following week brought unexpected news. Marcus received a call from a community organization he'd volunteered with during his working years, Portland Seniors Network. Mr. Washington, we heard about your housing situation, said the director, a woman named Carol Kim. We have a program for retired community servants. It's not much, a small apartment in a senior cooperative, but it's affordable, and the community there is wonderful. Marcus felt tears prick his eyes. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Someone like you, who gave 35 years to the Postal Service and volunteered every weekend at the community center, deserves better than a hotel room. The apartment was in Northeast Portland, a cozy 1-bedroom in a building full of other retirees. The rent was subsidized, manageable on his pension. Marcus moved in the following Saturday, with help from Raymond and a few other old friends. For the first time in weeks, he felt something like peace. But peace didn't last long. 2 weeks after Marcus settled into his new place, he received a frantic call from Trevor. Dad, I need to see you. Please. It's urgent. They met at a coffee shop near Marcus's apartment. Trevor looked haggard, his eyes shadowed with sleepless nights. What's wrong, son? Trevor pulled out his phone, showing Marcus a text message from Bethany. Your uncle just left. He knows everything. Says he's cutting you out of the will completely. Hope your father was worth it. Marcus's heart sank. What happened? Trevor's hands shook as he put the phone away. Uncle Robert showed up unannounced last week. Bethany wasn't home, she was at a spa retreat. I was there with you. You'd stopped by to drop off some of Mom's old photos I'd asked for, remember? Marcus nodded. He'd visited briefly, hoping to maintain some connection with his son. Uncle Robert saw us, Trevor continued. Saw us laughing together, talking. He asked who you were, and I couldn't lie, Dad. I couldn't look my own father in the face and pretend you were nobody. So I told him. I told him you were my father, and that I was proud to be your son. Marcus felt his throat tighten. Oh, Trevor. Uncle Robert went ballistic. Started saying all these horrible things about you, about Mom, about our family. And I snapped. I told him to get out. Told him his money was blood money if it came with conditions like that. Told him I'd rather have my father's respect than his fortune. What did Bethany say? Trevor's face crumpled. She's filing for divorce. Says I've destroyed our future, thrown away everything we built together. She's already moved out, staying with her sister. Marcus reached across the table, gripping his son's hand. I'm sorry, son. I never wanted this for you. Don't be sorry. Trevor wiped his eyes. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I let it get this far. I'm sorry I let Beth make me forget who I was, who raised me, what matters. He looked up, meeting Marcus's eyes. I'm sorry I chose money over you, even for a moment. You chose right in the end, Marcus said softly. That's what counts. Did I? I've lost my marriage, my inheritance, probably half my assets in the divorce, but you kept your soul, Marcus interrupted. Trevor, money comes and goes. Marriages sometimes fail. But who you are, the values you stand for, those are eternal. Your mother and I didn't raise you to be rich. We raised you to be good. Trevor nodded, tears streaming down his face. I want to make this right, Dad. I want you to come live with me. For real this time. No conditions, no secret plans. Just father and son. Marcus smiled, squeezing his son's hand. I appreciate that, son. But I like my new place. I've got good neighbors, a community. What I'd like is for you to visit. Regular dinners, maybe. Quality time, not obligation. I'd like that too. They sat together in the coffee shop, two men who'd found their way back to each other, not through money or comfort, but through the harder path of integrity and love. 6 months later, Marcus stood in Trevor's backyard. A much smaller house now, a modest craftsman in a working-class neighborhood, but it was truly Trevor's, bought with money he'd earned, not inherited. They were celebrating Trevor's 45th birthday with a small gathering, Raymond and some other retired postal workers, Carol. Kim from the Seniors Network, Denise and her family who'd flown in from Chicago, and a few of Trevor's architectural colleagues who'd stuck by him through the divorce. Speech, someone called out. Trevor raised his beer bottle, looking around at the assembled faces. I want to thank everyone for being here. Especially my dad. He turned to Marcus. A year ago, I was a different person. I was chasing things that didn't matter, ignoring the people who did. I had a big house, plans for a big inheritance, and a small soul. Laughter rippled through the group. Today, I have a smaller house, no inheritance, and I'm still paying off divorce lawyers. More laughter. But I've got my father back. I've got my integrity back. I've got my life back. And I've learned that the only inheritance that truly matters is the one you pass down through values, not bank accounts. He raised his bottle toward Marcus. To my dad, who taught me that lesson even when I wasn't ready to learn it. And to my mom, who I know is looking down right now, probably saying took you long enough, Trevor. Everyone drank to that. Later, as the sun set and guests began to leave, Marcus and Trevor sat on the back porch together. You doing okay? Marcus asked. Really? Trevor nodded. Better than okay. I'm designing affordable housing now, working with community organizations. Making less money, but it feels right. Like I'm building something that matters. Your mother would be proud. I hope so. Trevor paused. I heard from Uncle Robert last week. Marcus raised his eyebrows. He's sick. Cancer. He wanted to know if I'd visit him in the hospital. Trevor stared out at the darkening yard. Part of me wanted to say no. After everything he said about you, about Mom, but you went. I went. Not for him, for me. Because holding on to that anger was poisoning me. Trevor shrugged. He didn't apologize. Probably never will. But I told him I forgave him anyway. Not because he deserved it, but because I deserved to let it go. Marcus felt a swell of pride. That's wisdom, son. Real wisdom. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the first stars appear. Dad? Trevor said quietly. Thank you. For what? For not giving up on me. For being patient while I found my way back. Marcus smiled. That's what fathers do, son. We love you through the darkness, until you find your own light. And in that moment, sitting on a modest porch in a working-class neighborhood, with no inheritance and no regrets, both men understood that they were wealthier than they'd ever been. 3 years later, Marcus Washington celebrated his 76th birthday, at the senior cooperative where he lived. The community room was packed with neighbors, Trevor and his new girlfriend, a kind public school teacher named Angela, Denise's family, and dozens of people whose lives Marcus had touched over the years. Someone had made a collage of photos from Marcus's life, his days as a postal worker, his late wife smiling beside him, his children growing up, and recent images of him volunteering at the community center, still giving back. As Marcus looked around the room at all the faces, young and old. Every shade of skin tone, rich and poor, he understood that this was the real inheritance. Not money in a bank account, but love multiplied, values transmitted, lives touched. Trevor raised a glass. To Dad. The richest man I know. Here, the room chorused, and Marcus, surrounded by the wealth that truly mattered, couldn't have agreed more.